Exodus 1. So after Joseph and his brothers passed, their whole generation was gone, but their people, the Israelites, kept growing. And not just a little bit. They were multiplying like crazy, getting stronger and spreading all over Egypt. Then a new Pharaoh came up in power, and he didn't know or care about Joseph. He saw how deep the Israelites were getting and got shook. He told his people, "Look, these folks are outnumbering us. If we don't do something, they might team up with our enemies and take over." So Pharaoh put them in check, made them slaves and worked them hard, building up his cities and making sure they stayed struggling. But here's the thing. The more they got oppressed, the more they grew. Egypt was low-key scared of them, but instead of backing off, they made their lives even worse, forcing them into harsh labor, breaking their bodies, and treating them like they were nothing. Then Pharaoh took it to another level. He called in the Hebrew midwives, Shiphrah and Puah, and told them, "When y'all help the Hebrew women give birth, if it's a boy, kill him. If it's a girl, let her live." But these women feared God more than they feared Pharaoh, so they let the boys live. When Pharaoh found out, he checked them. "Why y'all letting these boys live?" They kept it real smart and said, "The Hebrew women ain't like Egyptian women. They give birth fast, so we don't even get there in time." Because they honored God, he blessed them and gave them families of their own. But Pharaoh wasn't letting up. He put out a nationwide order. "Every Hebrew baby boy that's born, throw him in the river. The girls can live." Egypt was getting real dangerous for God's people, but he was already setting up a plan. Exodus 2. So, there was this Hebrew man from Levi's tribe who got with a woman from the same tribe. They had a baby boy, and his mama saw that he was special, so she hid him for 3 months. But after a while, she couldn't hide him no more, so she got creative. She took a basket, made it waterproof, put the baby inside, and set it afloat in the Nile River. Then she had his big sister watch from a distance to see what would happen. Now, Pharaoh's daughter came down to the river to bathe, and she saw the basket floating. She had one of her servants grab it, and when she opened it, there was the baby, crying. She instantly felt for him and said, "This must be one of the Hebrew babies." The baby's sister saw her chance and ran up like, "Hey, you want me to find a Hebrew woman to nurse him for you?" Pharaoh's daughter said, "Yeah, do that." So, the girl went and got the baby's own mama. Pharaoh's daughter told her, "Take this baby, nurse him for me, and I'll pay you." So the woman took her own son back and raised him until he was older. Once he grew some, his mama brought him back to Pharaoh's daughter, and she adopted him as her son. She named him Moses, saying, "I pulled him out of the water." Fast forward. Moses grew up in Pharaoh's house, but one day he went out to see his people, the Hebrews, and saw how hard they were struggling. Then he saw an Egyptian beating up a Hebrew, one of his own. Moses looked around, made sure nobody was watching, and then took the Egyptian out, buried him in the sand. Next day, Moses saw 2 Hebrews fighting and stepped in like, "Yo, why you hitting your own brother?" But the man shot back, "Who put you in charge? You gonna kill me like you did that Egyptian?" Moses realized people knew what he did and got shook. Sure enough, Pharaoh found out and put a hit out on Moses. So Moses ran for his life to a place called Midian. He sat down by a well, and while he was there, some women came to get water for their father's flock, but some other shepherds started pressing them. Moses wasn't having it. He stepped in, handled the situation, and helped them water their sheep. When the women got back home, their father, Jethro, also called Reuel, was like, "How y'all back so fast?" They told him, "An Egyptian dude saved us from those shepherds and even helped with the flock." Jethro said, "Well, where he at? Y'all left him? Go get him so he can eat with us." So Moses ended up staying with Jethro's family, and Jethro gave him his daughter Zipporah as a wife. They had a son. And Moses named him Gershom, saying, "Well, I'm a stranger in a foreign land." Meanwhile, back in Egypt, the old Pharaoh died, but the Israelites were still suffering under slavery. They cried out, and their prayers reached God. He heard them, remembered his promise to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and he was about to step in. Exodus 3. One day, Moses was out in the wilderness, taking care of his father-in-law Jethro's sheep. He led them to a place called Mount Horeb, also known as the Mountain of God. While he was out there, something wild happened. He saw a bush on fire, but it wasn't burning up. Moses was like, "Hold up, let me go check this out. How is this bush on fire but not turning to ash?" As he got closer, God called out to him from the bush, "Moses! Moses!" Moses answered, "Here I am." God said, "Don't come any closer. Take off your sandals, because you're standing on holy ground. I am the God of your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob." Moses got shook and covered his face, scared to look at God. Then God said, "I've seen what's happening to my people in Egypt. I've heard their cries, and I know how bad they're suffering. I'm about to step in and bring them out of slavery, take them to a land flowing with milk and honey, where the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites live. The cries of my people have reached me, and I've seen how Egypt is treating them. So now, I'm sending you Moses to go to Pharaoh and bring my people out of Egypt." Moses was like, "Me? Who am I to go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out?" God said, "I'll be with you. And here's how you'll know it's me. When you bring the people out of Egypt, y'all will worship me right here on this mountain." Moses said, "Oh, okay, but when I go to them and say, 'The God of your ancestors sent me,' what if they ask, 'What's his name?' What do I tell them?" God said, "I am who I am. Tell them I am sent you. Tell them the Lord, the God of their ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, sent you. That's my name forever, and that's how I'll be known for all generations." Then God said, "Go gather the elders of Israel and tell them, 'The Lord has seen what's been done to us in Egypt, and he's about to take us to a land flowing with milk and honey.' They'll listen to you. Then you and the elders need to go to Pharaoh and say, 'The Lord has told us to go worship him in the wilderness for 3 days. But Pharaoh won't let y'all go easy, not unless he's forced to. So I'm about to show my power. I'll hit Egypt with wonders that'll make them beg y'all to leave. And when you go, you won't go empty-handed. You'll leave with silver, gold, and fresh clothes. Y'all gonna come out blessed." Exodus 4. Moses was still doubting and said, "But what if they don't believe me? What if they say, 'God ain't really send you?'" God said, "What's that in your hand?" Moses looked down. "A staff." God said, "Throw it on the ground." Moses tossed it down, and boom, it turned into a snake. He jumped back quick. Then God said, "Grab it by the tail." Moses reached out, grabbed it, and it turned back into a staff in his hand. God said, "This is so they'll believe that I, the God of their ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, sent you." Then God told him, "Put your hand inside your coat." Moses did it, and when he pulled his hand out, it was covered in some crazy skin disease, white as snow. God said, "Now put it back in." Moses did, and when he pulled it out again, it was healed, back to normal. God said, "If they don't believe the first sign, they'll believe the second. And if they still don't, take some water from the Nile, pour it on the ground, and it'll turn to blood." Moses was still making excuses. "But Lord, I'm not good with words. I stutter. I get tongue-tied. You know I ain't built for this." God said, "Who made your mouth? Who gives people the ability to speak, hear, and see?
Ain't it me, the Lord? So go. I'll be with you and teach you what to say." Moses still wasn't convinced. "Lord, please, send someone else." Now God was getting frustrated. "Fine. Your brother Aaron, he speaks well, right? He's already on his way to meet you. He'll be your spokesperson. I'll speak to you. You tell him, and he'll speak to the people. Now take that staff because you're going to need it for the signs." So Moses went back home, told his father-in-law Jethro, "I need to go back to Egypt to see if my people are still alive." Jethro said, "Go in peace." Then God told Moses, "Everyone who wanted you dead in Egypt is gone. Go back, do the signs I gave you, and tell Pharaoh to let my people go. But I'm warning you, he won't listen because I'm going to harden his heart, and when he refuses, I'll take his firstborn son." On the way back to Egypt, something serious happened. God came at Moses like he was about to take him out, but Moses' wife Zipporah acted fast. She circumcised their son, touched Moses' feet with the blood, and said, "You're a husband of blood to me." Then God let him go. Meanwhile, God told Aaron to meet Moses in the wilderness. They linked up, and Moses told Aaron everything God said. Then they went to Egypt, gathered the Israelite elders, and Aaron spoke while Moses did the signs. The people believed, bowed down, and worshipped God, because they knew he had heard their cries and was about to move. Exodus 5. Moses and Aaron pulled up to Pharaoh and said, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. Let my people go so they can hold a festival for me in the wilderness." Pharaoh looked at them like, "Who is this Lord you talking about? Why should I listen to him and let Israel go? I don't know this God, and I'm not letting nobody go." Moses and Aaron tried again. "The God of the Hebrews met with us. We need to go 3 days into the wilderness to worship him, or else he might hit us with plagues or war." Pharaoh wasn't having it. "Y'all got too much free time if you think you can leave work for some worship trip. Get back to work." That same day, Pharaoh made life harder for the Israelites. He told the Egyptian slave drivers and the Israelite foremen, "These people got too much time to be thinking about leaving. Stop giving them straw to make bricks. They got to go find their own, but the workload stays the same. No slacking." So the people were struggling, running all over Egypt trying to find straw while still making the same number of bricks. The Egyptian slave drivers stayed on their necks, yelling, "Work faster! Get it done!" The Israelite foremen got beat because they couldn't keep up. They went to Pharaoh and said, "Why are you treating your servants like this? We're being forced to make bricks without straw, and now we getting punished for it." Pharaoh shot back, "Y'all just lazy. That's why you talking about going to worship God. Get back to work. No straw but the same amount of bricks. Figure it out." The Israelite foreman left Pharaoh's court heated. As they walked out, they saw Moses and Aaron waiting for them. They turned to them and said, "May the Lord judge y'all for this. Y'all made us look bad to Pharaoh, and now he's trying to kill us." Moses went straight to God and said, "Lord, why'd you even send me if this is how it's going to be? Since I came to Pharaoh, things have only gotten worse, and you still haven't rescued your people." Exodus 6. Then the Lord told Moses, "Watch what I'm about to do to Pharaoh. When I'm done, he won't just let my people go. He's going to force them out." God continued, "I am the Lord. I appeared to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob as God Almighty, but I didn't reveal my full name to them. I made a promise to give them the land of Canaan, and now I've heard the cries of their descendants, the Israelites suffering in Egypt. I haven't forgotten my covenant. So tell the Israelites this: I am the Lord, and I'm about to pull y'all out of Egypt, away from this oppression. I'm going to break the chains and set you free. I will redeem you with my power and handle Pharaoh myself. I will take you as my own people, and I will be your God. Then you'll know that I am the Lord, your God, who brought you out of slavery. I will take you to the land I promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and I will give it to you. I am the Lord. Moses went and told the Israelites what God said, but they weren't trying to hear it. They were too beat down, too tired, too broken from all the hard labor. Then the Lord told Moses, "Go back to Pharaoh and tell him to let my people go." Moses said, "Lord, if my own people won't listen to me, what makes you think Pharaoh will? Plus, I don't even speak well." But God wasn't letting up. He told Moses and Aaron, "Y'all are the ones I'm using to speak to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt." Then the Bible lists the family lines of the tribes of Reuben, Simeon, and Levi, showing that Moses and Aaron came from Levi's family. These were the same Moses and Aaron who went to Pharaoh, demanding Israel's freedom. The Lord said to Moses, "I am the Lord. Do exactly what I tell you when you speak to Pharaoh." Moses still doubted. "But Lord, I don't speak well." God didn't change his mind. "Aaron will be your spokesperson. You'll tell him what I say and he'll speak to Pharaoh. I'm going to harden Pharaoh's heart, but I'm also going to show my power through signs and wonders. Egypt will know that I am the Lord when I bring my people out." Exodus 7. The Lord told Moses, "Look, I'm making you like a god to Pharaoh, and Aaron will be your prophet. You'll tell Aaron everything I say, and he'll speak to Pharaoh for you. But I'm going to harden Pharaoh's heart, and he won't listen at first. That's when I'll hit Egypt with my power and bring my people out in full view of everybody. Then Egypt will know that I am the Lord." Moses and Aaron did exactly what God commanded. Moses was 80, and Aaron was 83 when they stood before Pharaoh. Then the Lord said, "When Pharaoh asks for a sign, tell Aaron to throw down his staff, and it'll turn into a snake." So they went to Pharaoh and did what God said. Aaron threw down his staff, and boom, it turned into a snake. But Pharaoh called in his magicians and sorcerers, and they did the same thing with their tricks. Their staffs turned into snakes too. But then Aaron's snake ate up all of theirs. Still, Pharaoh's heart stayed cold, and he wouldn't listen, just like God said. Then God told Moses, "Pharaoh's still acting tough. Go meet him in the morning by the Nile River. Take that staff that turned into a snake and tell him, 'The Lord, the God of the Hebrews, sent me to tell you to let my people go so they can worship me. But since you won't listen, here's what's about to happen.'" Then Moses lifted the staff and struck the water of the Nile. Instantly, the whole river turned to blood. The fish died, the river started to stink, and nobody in Egypt could drink the water. Even the water in jars and buckets turned to blood. But Pharaoh's magicians did something similar with their tricks, so Pharaoh wasn't impressed. He turned around, went home, and acted like nothing happened. Meanwhile, the Egyptians were struggling, digging along the riverbanks trying to find drinkable water. And this went on for 7 days after God struck the Nile. Exodus 8. Then the Lord told Moses, "Go to Pharaoh and tell him, 'The Lord says, let my people go so they can worship me. If you refuse, I'm sending a plague of frogs all over Egypt. They'll be everywhere. In your palace, in your bedroom, in your bed, in your kitchen, in your ovens, and all over your people. Y'all gonna be drowning in frogs.'" So Aaron stretched out his staff over the waters, and just like that, frogs came up and covered Egypt. But Pharaoh's magicians did the same thing with their tricks, so Pharaoh still wasn't impressed. Then Pharaoh called Moses and Aaron and said, "Pray to your God to take these frogs away, and I'll let your people go worship him." Moses said,
Tell me when you want them gone.
Pharaoh said, tomorrow. Moses said, all right, so you'll know there ain't nobody like the Lord. The frogs will be gone by tomorrow. No more in your houses, just in the river where they belong. Moses prayed, and God made it happen. The frogs died off, and the Egyptians had to pile them up in heaps. The whole country started to stink. But when Pharaoh saw the problem was handled, he went right back to being stubborn and wouldn't let the people go. Then God told Moses, tell Aaron to stretch out his staff and hit the dust. It's about to turn into gnats. Aaron did it, and suddenly gnats were everywhere, on people, on animals, all over Egypt. This time Pharaoh's magicians tried to copy, but they couldn't. They told Pharaoh, this is the finger of God. But Pharaoh still wouldn't listen. Then the Lord told Moses, go to Pharaoh early in the morning and tell him, the Lord says, let my people go so they can worship me. If not, I'm sending swarms of flies. They'll be in your palace, your people's houses, and all over Egypt. But I'm making a difference. There won't be any flies in Goshen, where my people live. That way, you'll know I'm the Lord, and I'm setting my people apart. And just like that, swarms of flies hit Egypt heavy. Pharaoh's palace, his servants' houses, the whole land was overrun. Pharaoh called Moses and Aaron again and said, fine, y'all can worship your God, but do it here in Egypt. Moses said, no can do. Our sacrifices wouldn't sit right with the Egyptians, and they'd come for us. We need to go 3 days into the wilderness like God told us. Pharaoh said, okay, I'll let you go, but don't go too far. And pray for me. Moses said, I'll pray, and the flies will be gone tomorrow. But don't play games. Don't go back on your word. Moses prayed, and God removed every single fly. No trace left. But Pharaoh, he hardened his heart again and refused to let the people go. Exodus 9.
Then the Lord told Moses, go to Pharaoh and tell him, the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, says, let my people go so they can worship me. If you don't, I'm sending a deadly plague on your livestock, your horses, donkeys, camels, cows, sheep, and goats. But I'm making a distinction. None of Israel's animals will be touched. Watch, by this time tomorrow, it's going down. The next day it happened just like God said. Egypt's livestock started dropping dead, but not a single animal from Israel was harmed. Pharaoh sent people to check, and sure enough, the Israelites' animals were untouched. But even after seeing that, Pharaoh's heart stayed cold, and he still wouldn't let the people go.
Then God told Moses and Aaron, take handfuls of soot from a furnace, and Moses, throw it into the air in front of Pharaoh. It'll turn into fine dust and cause painful boils all over the people and animals. They did what God said, and the Egyptians broke out in boils, painful sores covering their skin. Even the magicians couldn't show up this time because they were too messed up. But Pharaoh, he still refused to listen, just like the Lord said he would. Then God told Moses, get up early, go to Pharaoh and tell him, the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, says, let my people go so they can worship me. If not, I'm sending the worst hailstorm Egypt has ever seen. Bring in your livestock and anything outside, because anything left in the open will be destroyed. Some of Pharaoh's officials were starting to catch on and took God seriously, rushing to bring their animals and workers inside. But the ones who still didn't fear God left their people and animals out. Then the Lord told Moses, lift your staff to the sky. Moses raised his hand, and God sent thunder, hail, and fire flashing through the sky. The storm hit hard, wrecking everything in the fields, killing people and animals, and tearing up the crops. But in Goshen, where the Israelites lived, there wasn't a single hailstone. Pharaoh sent for Moses and Aaron and said, I've sinned.
The Lord is right, and me and my people are wrong. Please pray to God to stop this storm. I'll let y'all go." Moses said, "As soon as I leave the city, I'll pray and the storm will stop. But I know you're still not going to change." Moses prayed, and the storm stopped. But just like before, when Pharaoh saw the danger was over, he went right back to being hard-headed and wouldn't let the Israelites go. Exodus 10. Then the Lord told Moses, "Go see Pharaoh again. I've hardened his heart and his officials' hearts so I can show my power. I want you to tell your children and grandchildren about these signs so they'll know I am the Lord." So Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and said, "Oh, the Lord says, how long you gonna act like you run things? Let my people go so they can worship me. If you refuse, tomorrow I'm sending locusts. They'll cover everything, eat whatever's left from the hail and fill your houses. Egypt has never seen anything like this before." Then Moses turned and walked away. Pharaoh's officials were fed up. They told him, "How long you gonna let this man be a problem? Let these people go worship their God. Don't you see Egypt is already destroyed?" So Pharaoh called Moses and Aaron back. "Fine, y'all can go worship the Lord, but who all is going?" Moses said, "Everybody. Young, old, sons, daughters, flocks, and herds. We all gotta go celebrate with the Lord." Pharaoh laughed. "Yeah, right. Y'all ain't taking everybody. Just the men can go." Then he had them kicked out. So the Lord told Moses, "Stretch out your hand over Egypt, and I'll bring the locusts." Moses did, and God sent a strong east wind that carried in swarms of locusts. They covered everything, eating every tree and every bit of food left after the hail. It was so bad, the whole land was darkened by them. Pharaoh rushed to call Moses and Aaron. "I've sinned against your God and against you. Please forgive me this one time. Pray to God to take these locusts away." Moses prayed, and God sent a strong west wind that blew the locusts into the Red Sea. Not a single one was left in Egypt, but Pharaoh, his heart stayed hard and he wouldn't let the Israelites go. Then the Lord told Moses, "Stretch your hand toward the sky." Moses did, and complete darkness covered Egypt for 3 days. Nobody could see or move, but in Goshen, where the Israelites were, they had light. Pharaoh called Moses again. "Fine, go worship your God. Take your kids, but leave your flocks and herds." Moses said, "Nope. We need our livestock for the sacrifices. Not a hoof stays behind." Pharaoh got heated. "Get out of my sight. If I see you again, you're dead." Moses said, "You're right. You won't see me again." Exodus 11. Then the Lord told Moses, "I got one more plague for Pharaoh. After this, he'll be begging y'all to leave. When that happens, tell the Israelites to ask the Egyptians for silver and gold." And because of all that had happened, the Egyptians actually respected Moses, and even Pharaoh's officials saw him as a great man. So Moses went to Pharaoh and said, "This is what the Lord says. Around midnight, I'm coming through Egypt myself. Every firstborn son in Egypt will die, from Pharaoh's own son to the firstborn of the lowest servant, even the firstborn of the animals. The whole land will cry out like never before. But in Israel, not even a dog will bark at my people. Then you'll know the Lord makes a difference between Egypt and Israel, and after this your officials will come running to me, begging us to leave. And when that happens, we're gone." Moses left Pharaoh's presence heated. Then the Lord told him, "Pharaoh still won't listen, but this is all part of my plan to show my power to Egypt." So even after everything, Pharaoh's heart stayed hard, and he still refused to let the Israelites go, just like God said. Exodus 12.
Then the Lord told Moses and Aaron, "This month is the beginning of the year for y'all. Tell the whole Israelite community, on the 10th day of this month, each family must take a lamb, one per household. If a family is too small for a whole lamb, they can share with their neighbors. The lamb must be 1 year old, male, and without any flaws.
Take care of it until the 14th day. Then at sunset, the whole community must kill their lambs. Take some of the blood and put it on the doorposts of your houses. That night, roast the lamb over fire. Don't boil it. Don't eat it raw. Eat it with unleavened bread and bitter herbs, and don't leave any leftovers until morning. If anything is left, burn it. Eat it ready to go, shoes on, walking stick in hand. This is the Lord's Passover. That night I'm coming through Egypt and striking down every firstborn, human and animal. I'm executing judgment on Egypt's gods because I am the Lord. But when I see the blood on your doors, I'll pass over you, and no harm will come to your house. This day must be remembered forever. Every year y'all will celebrate it as a festival to the Lord. For 7 days, eat unleavened bread. No yeast in your homes. If anyone eats yeast during this time, they're out of the community. On the 1st and 7th day, hold a sacred gathering. No work except preparing food. This is the festival of unleavened bread, because on this day I'm bringing my people out of Egypt. Teach it to every generation."
Moses gathered the elders and told them everything the Lord said. "Pick your lambs, kill them, and put the blood on your door frames. Stay inside all night, because when the Lord moves through to strike Egypt, he won't let the destroyer touch your houses if he sees the blood. Keep this tradition forever."
That night, God did exactly what he said. He struck down every firstborn in Egypt, from Pharaoh's son to the lowest prisoner's son, even the firstborn of the animals. A loud cry spread through Egypt. Every house had someone dead.
Pharaoh jumped up in the middle of the night, along with his officials and all the Egyptians. He called Moses and Aaron and said, "Get out. Leave my people. Go worship your God like you said. Take your flocks, take your herds, just go, and bless me before you leave." The Egyptians were desperate to get the Israelites out. "If y'all don't leave now, we're all gonna die." They rushed them out so fast, the Israelites didn't even have time to let their bread rise. They wrapped their dough up and carried it on their shoulders. Before they left, they asked the Egyptians for silver, gold, and clothes, just like God told them, and the Egyptians gave them everything they asked for. Israel left Egypt blessed. About 600,000 Israelite men, plus women and children, marched out. They also had a mixed crowd of others who left with them, along with flocks and herds. They baked unleavened bread because they had no time to wait. Israel had lived in Egypt for 430 years. On the very day that time was up, the Lord brought them out. Then God gave Moses more instructions. No outsider can eat the Passover meal unless they join Israel through circumcision. The same rule applies to everyone, no matter if they're born Israelite or a foreigner who's part of the community. Celebrate it the way I commanded. And Israel did exactly what the Lord commanded Moses and Aaron. That night the Lord freed his people from Egypt. Exodus 13. Then the Lord told Moses, "Set aside every firstborn for me, whether human or animal, the firstborn belongs to me." Moses told the people, "Remember this day, the day the Lord brought you out of Egypt, out of slavery. He did it with his power, so don't eat any bread with yeast. Today you're leaving Egypt and heading toward the land he promised, Canaan, a land flowing with milk and honey. Every year, on this same day, celebrate this festival. For 7 days, eat unleavened bread, and on the 7th day, have a feast to the Lord. No yeast anywhere, no leavened bread in sight. Teach this to your children.
This is because of what the Lord did for us when he brought us out of Egypt. Let this truth be like a sign on your hand or a reminder on your forehead, so you always remember that the Lord brought you out with his power. When you get to the land the Lord promised, give him the firstborn of everything. Every firstborn male animal belongs to him. If it's a donkey, buy it back with a lamb or break its neck, and every firstborn son must be redeemed. When your children ask why, tell them, the Lord brought us out of Egypt with his mighty power. Pharaoh was stubborn, so God struck down every firstborn in Egypt, human and animal. That's why we dedicate our firstborn to him. Let this be like a mark on your hand and forehead, reminding you that the Lord brought us out with his strength.
Now, when Pharaoh finally let them go, God didn't lead them straight through Philistine territory, even though it was a shorter route. He knew if they saw war, they might get scared and run back to Egypt. Instead, he led them through the wilderness toward the Red Sea. The Israelites marched out boldly, carrying the bones of Joseph with them, just like he told them to do before he died. The Lord led them himself. During the day, he went ahead of them in a pillar of cloud. At night, he led them with a pillar of fire so they could see where they were going. That way, they could travel day or night. The pillar never left them. It was always there, guiding the way.
Exodus 14.
Then God told Moses, "Turn back and set up camp by the Red Sea. Pharaoh's gonna think y'all lost and stuck, but don't trip. I'm about to make him stubborn again so he chases after y'all. Then I'll show out, and Egypt will know who really runs this."
So the Israelites camped by the sea, just like God said. Meanwhile, Pharaoh and his crew started rethinking everything. Man, why did we let them go? We just lost all our free labor. So Pharaoh got his army ready, 600 of his best chariots, plus every other one in Egypt, and they went after the Israelites rolling up deep. When the Israelites saw Pharaoh's army pulling up, they freaked out. They cried to God, then turned on Moses. "Bruh, you really brought us out here to die. Weren't there enough graves in Egypt? We told you to leave us alone, but nah, you had to play hero. Now look at us." Moses said, "Chill. Stand still and watch how God comes through. These Egyptians you see today, you ain't never gonna see them again. The Lord is fighting for you. Just be still." Then God told Moses, "Why y'all crying to me? Tell them to keep moving. Hold up your staff, stretch it over the sea, and split the waters so y'all can walk through on dry ground. Pharaoh and his people still think they got this, but I'm about to show them exactly who I am." Then the cloud that had been leading them moved behind them, blocking Pharaoh's army. On one side, it was pure darkness. On the other, it was light, keeping Egypt from getting close all night. Moses stretched out his staff, and God sent a strong wind that split the sea in two. The water stood up like walls on both sides, and the Israelites walked through like it was nothing but dry land. Pharaoh's army went right in after them, but before they could reach the other side, God threw them into chaos. Their chariot wheels started jamming up, and they panicked. "Yo, let's get out of here. Their God is fighting for them." Then God told Moses, "Stretch your hand over the sea again." Moses did, and at sunrise, the waters crashed back down. Pharaoh's whole army, chariots, horses, soldiers, got wiped out. Not a single one made it out. But Israel, they walked through on dry land and made it to the other side safe. When they saw how God handled their enemies, they knew he was the real deal. They put their trust in him and in Moses. Then they broke out in praise, 'cause God had just set them free for real. Exodus 15. Then Moses and the Israelites started singing to the Lord. The Lord came through. He threw Pharaoh's army into the sea. The Lord is my strength, my Savior. He the reason I'm still standing. He's my God, and I'm giving him his props. He handled business like a warrior.
straight up shut Pharaoh down. He drowned their chariots, their soldiers, took 'em all out. The deep waters swallowed them whole. They sank like bricks. Lord, nobody moves like you. Ain't nobody as powerful. When you throw down, your enemies get shook. With one move, you wiped them out. You sent that wind, and the sea stacked up like walls. Your people walked through on dry ground, but the enemy, they got played. They thought they had us, talking, we'll chase 'em, catch 'em, take everything they got. But you just blew your breath, and the waters came crashing down. They sank like lead in the sea. Miriam, Moses' sister, grabbed a tambourine, and all the women followed her, singing and dancing. Sing to the Lord! He came through big time! He threw Pharaoh's whole crew into the sea.
After all that praise, Moses led the people deeper into the wilderness. They traveled for 3 days without finding water. Then they got to a place called Marah, but the water there was too bitter to drink. They started complaining to Moses. What we supposed to drink out here?
Moses cried out to God, and the Lord showed him a piece of wood. Moses threw it in the water, and just like that, the water turned fresh. Then God told them, listen up. If y'all follow my ways, do what's right, and keep my commands, you won't suffer the diseases I put on Egypt. I'm the Lord who heals you. Then they arrived at Elim, where there were 12 springs and 70 palm trees. They set up camp there and finally got to rest.
Exodus 16.
A month after leaving Egypt, the Israelites were deep in the wilderness, traveling toward Sinai. But instead of being grateful, they started complaining. Again, they said to Moses and Aaron, man, we should have just died back in Egypt. At least we had food there. Now you brought us out here to starve. God told Moses, I'm about to rain down bread from heaven. Every morning the people will go out and gather just what they need for the day. But on the 6th day, they'll collect double, so they can rest on the 7th. I'm doing this to test if they'll follow my instructions. Moses and Aaron told the people, y'all keep complaining, but understand, you're not complaining to us, you're complaining to God, and He heard you loud and clear. By evening, He's sending meat, and in the morning, He's giving y'all bread. Then you'll know He's the one taking care of you. That evening, a bunch of quail flew in and covered the camp, and in the morning, when the dew dried up, there was something flaky on the ground. The people were confused. What is this? Moses said, this is the bread God is giving y'all. Gather just enough for your household. Don't be greedy. Some listened, some didn't. The ones who hoarded extra woke up to find it rotting and full of worms. Moses was mad. Every morning, they gathered what they needed. When the sun got hot, whatever was left melted away. On the 6th day, they gathered double. The leaders went to Moses, and he told them, God says tomorrow is a day of rest, so bake and cook today. Save the rest for tomorrow. They stored it, and this time it didn't spoil. Moses said, eat it today. It's the Sabbath. No food will be on the ground tomorrow. Stay in your tents and rest. Some people still went out looking for food, but they found nothing. God said, how long y'all gonna ignore my commands? I gave you enough on the 6th day so you could rest on the 7th.
The Israelites named the bread manna, which means, what is it? It was white like coriander seed and tasted like honey wafers.
Then Moses said, God wants a jar of this kept as a reminder for future generations to show how He fed us in the wilderness.
So Aaron put some manna in a jar and placed it before the Lord, just like God commanded.
The Israelites ate manna for 40 years until they finally reached the land God promised them. Exodus 17.
The Israelites kept moving through the wilderness, going wherever God told them. But when they set up camp at Rephidim, there was no water, and they started wilding on Moses again. "Yo, we thirsty. Why'd you bring us out here to die?"
Moses was fed up. "Why y'all always testing God?" But the people kept pushing. "Did you bring us out of Egypt just so we could die of thirst?" Moses cried out to God, "What am I supposed to do with these people? They're about to turn on me." God said, "Take your staff, the same one you used to split the sea, and go to the rock at Horeb. I'll be there. Strike the rock and water will flow out so the people can drink." Moses did exactly what God said and water came pouring out. He named the place Massa, testing, and Meribah, quarreling, because the Israelites tested God, saying, "Is the Lord really with us or not?" Battle with Amalek.
While they were still at Rephidim, the Amalekites rolled up and started a fight.
Moses told Joshua, "Pick some men and go fight them. I'll be on top of the hill holding God's staff." Joshua and his crew went to battle while Moses, Aaron, and Hur went up the hill. As long as Moses held his hands up, Israel was winning. But when he got tired and dropped them, Amalek started winning. So Aaron and Hur made him sit on a rock. Then they held up his hands, one on each side, until the sun went down. And just like that, Joshua and his army wiped out Amalek. Then God told Moses, "Write this down so Joshua never forgets. I'm erasing Amalek's name from history."
Moses built an altar and called it, "The Lord is my banner," saying, "The Lord will fight Amalek for generations to come." Exodus 18. Moses' father-in-law Jethro heard about everything God had done, how he freed Israel from Egypt. So Jethro pulled up with Moses' wife Zipporah and their 2 sons, Gershom and Eliezer. When they got close to camp, Jethro sent a message. "Moses, I'm here with your wife and kids." Moses went out to meet him, bowed in respect, and welcomed him into the tent. They caught up, and Moses told him everything, how God shut Pharaoh down, split the sea, and handled all their enemies. Jethro was amazed. "Wow, the Lord really came through. He saved y'all from Pharaoh and Egypt. Now I know for sure, your God is greater than all other gods." Then Jethro made a sacrifice to God, and Aaron and the elders joined him for a meal.
Jethro dropped some wisdom. The next day, Jethro watched Moses from the sidelines. From morning to night, Moses was out here judging every case, settling every argument, handling everybody's problems. Jethro was like, "Moses, what are you doing? Why you out here all day wearing yourself out?" Moses said, "The people come to me for guidance. I tell them what God says and help them solve their issues." Jethro shook his head. "Bruh, this ain't it. You gonna burn yourself out. You trying to do everything alone, and that's not smart. Listen, let me give you some advice and make God back it up. You stay focused on bringing the people's problems to God, teach them his ways, show them how to live right. But for the smaller issues, find some capable, trustworthy men, God-fearing, not greedy. Put them in charge of groups of thousands, hundreds, 50s, and 10s. Let them handle the everyday disputes. If something big comes up, they can bring it to you. This way, you won't wear yourself out, and the people will get justice faster." Moses saw the wisdom in it and did exactly what Jethro suggested. He appointed leaders over the people, and they handled the minor cases while Moses only dealt with the major ones. After that, Jethro went back home, knowing Moses had things under control. Exodus 19. 3 months after leaving Egypt, the Israelites pulled up to Mount Sinai and set up camp in front of the mountain. Moses went up to talk to God, and the Lord called out to him from the mountain, "Tell the Israelites this. Y'all saw what I did to Egypt, how I carried you out like an eagle carrying her babies. Now, if y'all listen to me and keep my covenant, you'll be my chosen people, set apart from everybody else. The whole world is mine. but I'm making you my own special nation."
Moses went back down and told the people what God said. The people responded, "We'll do everything the Lord says." So Moses took their answer back to God. Then the Lord said, "Tell them to get ready. In 3 days, I'm showing up. Have them wash their clothes and purify themselves. Set boundaries around the mountain. Nobody, not even animals, can touch it. If they do, they're done. When they hear the trumpet blast, then they can come close." So Moses went down, told the people to get right, and they purified themselves like God said. God pulls up to Sinai.
On the third day, early in the morning, thunder started rumbling, lightning flashed, and a thick cloud covered the mountain. A loud trumpet blast shook the camp, and the people got scared. Moses led them out to meet God, and the whole mountain was covered in smoke because the Lord came down in fire. The whole thing was shaking like an earthquake. The trumpet blast kept getting louder and louder. Then Moses spoke, and God answered with thunder. The Lord called Moses back up the mountain and said, "Go back down and warn the people. Don't try to rush up here or they'll die. Even the priests need to purify themselves, or they won't make it." Moses said, "But Lord, you already told them not to cross the boundary."
God said, "Go get Aaron, but nobody else comes up. Now go." So Moses went back down and told the people what God said. Exodus 20, the 10 Commandments. 1. No other gods. I'm the one who brought you out the struggle, the real MVP. Don't be out here putting anybody or anything above me.
2. No idols. Don't be out here worshiping no statues, money, celebrities, or anything else. I'm a jealous God. I want your heart, not just your words. Keep it real with me, and I'll bless you for generations.
3. Respect my name. Don't be out here playing with my name, using it recklessly, or making promises in my name you can't keep. My name holds weight. Act like it.
4. Take a rest day. Work hard, but don't grind yourself into the ground. Take a day off to rest and recognize who really keeps you going. Even I took a day to chill. So what makes you think you can't?
5. Honor your parents. Show love and respect to the ones who raised you. That's how you keep your days long and your life blessed.
6. Don't kill. Don't take nobody's life. Period.
7. Stay loyal. If you in a relationship, stay solid. Don't step out on your partner. Be real with them.
8. Don't steal. If it ain't yours, don't touch it. Simple. 9. Keep it 100. Don't be out here lying on people's name, spreading false rumors, or faking the truth. Integrity matters. 10. Don't be greedy. Stop watching other people's blessings like you missing out. Don't envy their house, their car, their relationship, or anything they got. Focus on what's for you and let God handle the rest.
God laid it out plain and simple. This is how you stay aligned and blessed. Exodus 21.
1. If you got servants, treat them right. They work for 6 years, but in the 7th year they get to walk free. No debt, no strings attached. 2. If he came in single, he leaves single. If he had a wife, she goes with him. 3. If his boss gave him a wife and they had kids, the wife and kids stay, but he can choose to stay too if he loves them. In that case, he commits to serving for life. 4. If you selling your daughter into servanthood, don't treat her like some random worker. She deserves respect. If her master ain't feeling her, he gotta let her be redeemed. He can't sell her off like she property. 5. If he picks her for his son, she gets treated like a daughter, not a servant. 6. If he takes another wife, he's still gotta provide for the first one. Food, clothes, and love. No neglect.
7. If he doesn't keep up his end, she's free to go. No buyout needed.
8. Don't be out here killing folks. If you do, and it was intentional, you're done. But if it was an accident, there's a safe place for you to go.
9. If you plan to harm somebody and take their life, ain't no saving you. You getting dealt with.
10. If you hit your parents, that's a serious offense. Same if you out here kidnapping folks or disrespecting your mom and dad. 11. If two people fighting and one gets hurt bad but survives, the one who started it gotta make sure the other one is taken care of until they healed. 12. If you hit your worker so bad they die, that's on you. But if they survive a few days and then die, that's different. 13. If two men fighting and a pregnant woman gets hurt, causing her to give birth early but the baby and mom are fine, the one responsible gotta pay whatever her husband demands. But if there's serious harm, it's eye for eye, tooth for tooth. Whatever damage was done, it comes back on them. 14. If you injure your worker's eye or knock out their tooth, they get to walk free. 15. If an animal kills somebody, that animal gets put down. But if the owner knew it was dangerous and let it happen, they getting punished too. 16. If someone gets hurt because of your negligence, like a pit you didn't cover up, you gotta pay up. 17. If your animal hurts someone else's animal, y'all split the loss. If you knew your animal was a problem and didn't stop it, you gotta replace what was lost. This chapter is all about fairness, accountability, and treating people right. Exodus 22.
1. If somebody steals an ox or a sheep and sells it or slaughters it, they gotta pay back 5 oxen for 1 ox and 4 sheep for 1 sheep.
2. If a thief gets caught breaking in at night and gets put down, the homeowner ain't guilty. But if it happens in daylight, it's a different story.
3. If a thief gets caught, they gotta pay back what they stole. If they can't, they getting sold as a servant to pay off the debt.
4. If the stolen animal is found alive in their hands, whether it's an ox, donkey, or sheep, they gotta give back double. 5. If you let your animals loose and they eat up somebody else's crops, you gotta pay them back with the best from your own field.
6. If a fire spreads from your land and burns up somebody else's crops, you on the hook for the damage.
7. If somebody gives you their money or stuff to hold and it gets stolen from your house, the thief, if caught, gotta pay back double. 8. If the thief ain't found, the homeowner gotta stand before God to prove they ain't in on it. 9. If there's a dispute over lost property, whether it's an ox, donkey, sheep, clothes, or anything else, both sides take it to God. The guilty one gotta pay back double. 10. If somebody asks you to watch their animal and it dies, gets hurt, or disappears with no witnesses, they gotta swear before God they didn't do it. The owner gotta accept that. 11. But if the animal was stolen, the one watching it gotta pay up. If it got attacked by a wild animal, they better bring proof, and they won't owe nothing. 12. If you borrow something and it gets damaged or dies while the owner ain't around, you gotta make it right. But if the owner was there, you off the hook. 13. If a man sleeps with a virgin who ain't engaged, he gotta marry her and pay the bride price. If her dad says no, he still gotta pay up. 14. Don't be out here practicing witchcraft. God ain't playing about that. 15. Anybody messing with animals in a nasty way, they gotta go. 16. Don't be out here sacrificing to other gods. God don't share his glory. 17. Treat immigrants right. Remember y'all were once strangers in Egypt.
18. Don't take advantage of widows or orphans. If they cry out to God, he will handle you personally. 19. If you lend money to broke folks, don't act like a loan shark. No crazy interest rates.
20. If somebody gives you their coat as collateral, give it back before sundown. That might be all they got to stay warm, and God hears their cries. 21. Don't talk crazy about God or disrespect your leaders. 22. Give God your best, the first of your harvest, your wine, and your livestock. 23rd. Let the firstborn of your animals stay with their mother for 7 days, then offer them to God. 24. Don't be out here living wild. Act like people who belong to God. Don't eat meat from animals that got torn up in the field. Leave that for the wild animals. This chapter is all about justice, fairness, and making sure folks get treated right. Exodus 23. 1. Don't be out here spreading lies or false rumors, and don't team up with shady folks to twist the truth. 2. Don't follow the crowd when they doing wrong. Just because everybody else lying in court don't mean you should too. 3. Don't play favorites in court, even if the person is poor. Keep it real and fair. 4. If you see your enemy's ox or donkey wandering off, don't ignore it. Bring it back to them. 5. If their donkey falls under a heavy load, don't walk past like you don't see it. Help them out. 6. Don't cheat the poor just because you can. Justice ain't for sale. 7. Stay far away from false accusations. Don't have innocent people punished or killed. God don't play about that. 8. Don't take bribes. That money might seem sweet, but it blinds good judgment and twists the truth. 9. Don't mistreat immigrants. You know what it's like to be a stranger in a land. Remember Egypt. 10. Work your land for 6 years, but in the 7th year let it rest so the poor can eat from it, and whatever's left, let the wild animals have it. 11th. Same goes for your vineyards and olive groves. Give them a break every 7th year. 12. Work 6 days, but on the 7th, rest up. Let your workers, your animals, and even immigrants living among you get some peace. 13. Don't even mention the names of other gods. Stay locked in with the one true God. 14. Celebrate 3 festivals every year for God. 15th. First, the festival of unleavened bread. Remember how God brought y'all out of Egypt. For 7 days, eat bread with no yeast and bring your offering. 16th. Second, the festival of harvest. Give God the first of what you earn. 17th. Third, the festival of ingathering. Celebrate the blessings from all your hard work. 18. When you sacrifice, don't offer up anything mixed with yeast, and don't let fat from offerings sit overnight. 19. Bring God the first of your crops, and don't be out here cooking a young goat in its mother's milk. 20. God's sending an angel ahead of you to guide and protect you. So listen up. Don't test him. He's moving with God's authority. 21. If you obey, God will handle your enemies and bless your life. 22. Stay away from the idols of the people in the land you're about to take over. Don't worship them. Don't even mess with them. 23. Worship God only, and He'll bless your food, your water, and keep sickness away from you. 24. No miscarriages, no infertility. God will make sure you live a full life. 25. Your enemies? God will handle them. He's gonna send fear ahead of you and make your enemies run. 26. But He's clearing them out little by little, not all at once, so the land don't get wild before you take over. 27. Your border's gonna stretch from the Red Sea to the Euphrates River. Your enemies won't stand a chance. 28. Don't make deals with them or their gods. If you let them stick around, they're gonna trap you into worshiping their gods, and that's gonna be your downfall. God laying out the game plan. Follow it, and you'll be straight. Exodus 24. God told Moses, "Come up the mountain, bring Aaron his sons and 70 of Israel's elders. Y'all can worship from a distance, but only you can come close." So Moses went back and told the people everything God said, all the rules and commands. The people said, "We got you. We gonna do everything the Lord said." Moses wrote it all down. Then early the next morning, he built an altar at the bottom of the mountain with 12 stone pillars, one for each tribe. He had young men offer sacrifices to God. Then Moses took some of the blood, put it in bowls, and sprinkled the rest on the altar. He read the book of the covenant out loud, and the people said, "Well, we in. We gonna do everything God said." Then Moses sprinkled blood on them and said, "This right here seals the deal. Y'all in a covenant with God now." Then Moses, Aaron, his sons, and the 70 elders went up the mountain, and they actually saw God. Under his feet was something like sapphire stone, clear and shining. God didn't harm them. In fact, they ate and drank in his presence. God told Moses, "Come up higher. I'm gonna give you stone tablets with my laws written on them." So Moses and his assistant Joshua started climbing. He told the elders, "Y'all stay here till we get back. If anything pops off, Aaron and Hur got it." Moses went up the mountain, and a cloud covered it. God's glory rested on Mount Sinai, looking like fire on top of the mountain. Moses stayed up there 40 days and 40 nights. Exodus 25. God told Moses, "Tell the people to bring me an offering, only from those who really want to give. Here's what I need: gold, silver, bronze, fine linen, blue, purple, and scarlet fabric, goat hair, ram skins dyed red, fine leather, acacia wood, oil for the lamps, spices for the anointing oil and incense, and precious stones for the priest's breastplate. They gonna use all this to build me a sanctuary so I can dwell among them. And they gotta do it exactly how I show you." The Ark of the Covenant. Make a chest out of acacia wood, 3 3/4 feet long, 2 1/4 feet wide and high. Cover it in pure gold inside and out, and put a gold trim around it. Cast 4 gold rings, attach them to the corners, and slide poles through them so y'all can carry it. Those poles gotta stay in there. Don't take them out. Put the tablets of my commandments inside the ark. Then make a lid, the mercy seat, out of pure gold. It should be the same length and width as the ark. Make 2 golden cherubim, angels, and place them on both ends, facing each other with their wings stretched out over the mercy seat. That's where I'ma meet with you and speak to you about everything concerning my people. The table for the bread. Make a table out of acacia wood about 3 feet long and 1.5 feet wide. Cover it in gold and give it a gold trim. Make 4 gold rings and attach them to the legs for carrying poles. The poles should be made of acacia wood covered in gold. Put special plates, bowls, and pitchers on it, all made of gold. And always keep the bread of the presence on the table before me. The golden lampstand. Make a lampstand out of pure gold. It should have a center shaft with 6 branches, 3 on each side. Decorate them with almond blossom designs, each branch having 3 flower-like cups. The main shaft should have 4 of these cups, evenly spaced. Put gold lamp holders at the top of each branch. Make 7 lamps for it, and the priests will keep them burning to light up the area. All the tools for the lampstand should be pure gold. Be sure to make everything exactly how I showed you on the mountain. Exodus 26. The tabernacle tent. God said, "Make the tabernacle with 10 curtains of fine linen, blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, with angel designs woven into them. Each curtain should be 42 feet long and 6 feet wide. Join 5 together in one set and the other 5 in another set. Put 50 blue loops along the edges where they meet, Then make 50 gold clasps to connect them so it becomes one big piece.
The outer covering.
Next, make 11 curtains out of goat hair for the outer tent covering. Each one should be 45 feet long and 6 feet wide. Join 5 together in one set and 6 in another, letting the extra one hang over the back of the tent. Put 50 loops along the edges where they meet, then make 50 bronze clasps to hook them together. Cover the tent with ram skins dyed red and put a layer of fine leather on top.
The framework.
Make frames out of acacia wood, each 15 feet high and 2 feet wide. Each frame should have 2 pegs at the bottom so they fit together. Make 20 frames for the south side, 20 for the north side, and 6 for the back, west side, plus 2 extra corner pieces. Each frame should have a silver base to stand in, 2 bases per frame. Use gold-covered crossbars to hold them together, and make sure everything is covered in gold. The inner curtain, veil.
Make a thick curtain from blue, purple, and scarlet yarn with angel designs woven in. Hang it from gold hooks on 4 gold-covered acacia wood posts that stand in silver bases. Put the Ark of the Covenant behind this curtain. The veil separates the holy place from the most holy place. The mercy seat should sit on top of the Ark in the most holy place. The entrance curtain.
For the entrance of the tent, make another curtain from blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, embroidered with fine patterns. Hang it on 5 gold-covered acacia posts with gold hooks, and set them in bronze bases. Make sure you do everything exactly how I showed you on the mountain.
Exodus 27. The altar.
God said, make an altar out of acacia wood, 7.5 feet wide and 4.5 feet tall. Put horns on each corner and cover the whole thing in bronze. Make all the tools, pots, shovels, basins, forks, and fire pans, out of bronze too. Make a bronze grating for it, like a net, and attach 4 bronze rings to its corners. Slide acacia wood poles through those rings so y'all can carry it. Cover the poles in bronze too. Put the altar on a hollow frame so it's easy to move. The courtyard. Set up a courtyard around the tabernacle. On the south and north sides, make curtains of fine linen, 150 feet long, supported by 20 bronze posts with silver hooks. On the west side, make it 75 feet wide with 10 posts. Do the same for the east side, but leave space for the entrance. For the entrance, make a 30-foot wide curtain of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, embroidered with designs. Hang it on 4 bronze posts with silver hooks. The whole courtyard should be 150 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 7.5 feet tall, with fine linen walls and bronze bases for the posts. Keeping the lamps lit. Tell the Israelites to bring pure olive oil for the lamps, so they stay burning continuously. Aaron and his sons will keep them lit in the tent of meeting, outside the veil that separates the holy place from the most holy place. They gotta do this every night, from generation to generation. Exodus 28. Priests fit sacred garments. God told Moses, "Get your brother Aaron and his sons, Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar, so they can serve as my priests. Make them some holy garments that show their status and set them apart. Tell the skilled workers I blessed with talent to make these clothes just like I tell you. Here's what they need: a breastplate, an ephod, priestly robe, a woven tunic, a turban, and a sash. Make them out of gold, blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, plus fine linen. The ephod, priestly robe. The ephod should be made of gold, blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, woven with fine linen. Put 2 shoulder pieces on it so it can be fastened together. Make a belt for it out of the same material. Take 2 onyx stones, carve the names of Israel's 12 tribes on them, 6 on each stone, and set them in gold. Put them on the shoulder pieces, so Aaron carries the names of Israel before me every time he steps in. Make gold settings for them and attach braided gold chains. The breastplate. Decision piece. Make a breastplate for making decisions using the same gold, blue, purple, and scarlet yarn. It should be square, folded double, about 9 inches on each side. Decorate it with 12 gemstones set in gold. First row, ruby, topaz, emerald. Second row, turquoise, sapphire, amethyst. Third row, jacinth, agate, crystal. Fourth row, beryl, onyx, jasper. Each stone represents one of the 12 tribes. Engrave their names on the stones like a signet ring. Attach gold rings to the breastplate's corners and fasten it to the ephod with blue cords, so it stays in place over Aaron's heart. That way, whenever he steps before me, he carries Israel's names over his heart. Urim and Thummim, divine decision-making tools. Put the Urim and Thummim inside the breastplate so Aaron can use them to get my guidance. That way, when he steps in as priest, he's always carrying my judgment for Israel. Priestly robe. Make the robe entirely blue. Put an opening at the top with a woven collar so it don't rip. Around the hem, attach pomegranates made of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, with golden bells in between. That way, when Aaron moves, the bells ring and he won't die when he steps into my presence. Priestly turban and accessories. Make a gold plate and engrave "Holy to the Lord" on it like a signet. Tie it to the front of the turban with a blue cord. This way, Aaron will always carry the responsibility of Israel's offerings, making them acceptable before me. Make woven tunics for Aaron and his sons, plus sashes and headbands. Dress them up right to show their role as priests. Dressing the priests. When it's time to ordain them, put Aaron and his sons in these garments. Anoint them with oil and set them apart to serve as my priests. Make them linen undergarments to cover themselves from the waist to the thighs, so they stay covered when they step into my presence. This is a lasting rule for all Aaron's descendants. Exodus 29. Ordaining the priests. God said, "Here's how you're going to set Aaron and his sons apart as my priests. Take a young bull and 2 rams with no defects. Get some bread, cakes, and wafers made without yeast, mixed with oil, and put them in a basket. Bring Aaron and his sons to the entrance of the tent of meeting and wash them with water. Then dress Aaron in his priestly fit, the tunic, the robe, the ephod, the breastplate, and the turban with the gold plate that says, 'Holy to the Lord.' Anoint him with oil to set him apart. Dress his sons in tunics with sashes and headbands so they take on their priestly roles. This is a permanent setup for Aaron's family. Sacrifices to set them apart. Bring the bull to the front of the tent, and Aaron and his sons should lay their hands on its head. Then sacrifice it to me at the entrance. Take some of its blood and put it on the altar's horns with your finger, and pour the rest at the base. Take the fat, liver, kidneys, and burn them on the altar, but burn the rest of the bull outside the camp. This is a sin offering. It cleanses them. Next, take one of the rams, and they should lay their hands on its head too. Sacrifice it, sprinkle its blood around the altar, then cut it up and burn the whole thing. This is a burnt offering, a pleasing scent to me. Now take the second ram, and again they put their hands on its head. Sacrifice it, then take some of its blood and put it on Aaron and his sons, on their right ear, right thumb, and right big toe. Sprinkle the rest around the altar. Take some of the blood and anointing oil and sprinkle it on them and their clothes. That way, they and their garments are set apart for my service. Wave offering and fellowship meal. Take the fat from the ram, along with the liver, kidneys, and 1 loaf of bread, and put them in Aaron's hands to lift up as a wave offering. Then burn them on the altar as a special offering to me. But the breast and thigh of the ram belong to you, Moses. This is your portion. This will be the rule for future priests.
Aaron's sons will always get the breast and thigh from the ordination sacrifices. It's their share from Israel's offerings forever. Holy clothes stay in the family.
Aaron's priestly garments should be passed down. When his son takes over, he gotta wear them for 7 days while serving in the holy place.
Daily sacrifices. For 7 days, you gonna sacrifice a bull each day to cleanse the altar, anoint it and set it apart. From then on, every single day, sacrifice 2 lambs, one in the morning, one in the evening. With each lamb, offer flour mixed with olive oil and some wine. This will be a daily offering for all time, so I can dwell among my people. God's presence stays with Israel. I will meet with you there, and my glory will fill the tent of meeting. I will set apart the priests, the altar, and the whole tabernacle, so I can dwell with my people. I am their God. I brought them out of Egypt so I could live with them. I am the Lord their God.
Exodus 30.
The altar for burning incense.
God said, "Make a small altar out of acacia wood just for burning incense. It should be 1.5 feet wide and 3 feet tall, with horns on each corner. Cover the whole thing in pure gold, top, sides, and horns, and put a gold trim around it. Make 2 gold rings on each side for carrying poles, and cover the poles in gold too.
Put it in front of the veil that separates the holy place from the most holy place, right in front of the Ark of the Covenant, where I meet with you. Aaron will burn sweet-smelling incense on it every morning and evening when he tends the lamps. This is a special incense offering that should never stop.
Don't use the altar for any other type of sacrifice. No burnt offerings, grain offerings, or drink offerings. And don't bring any strange incense. Only what I tell you. Once a year, Aaron will put blood from the sin offering on its horns to purify it. This is a lasting rule for all time. The census offering. Everybody pays up. The people gotta bring me an offering when you count them, so no disaster comes on them. Every grown man must pay a half shekel as a ransom for his life. The rich don't pay more, and the poor don't pay less. Everybody pays the same. This money will be used for the upkeep of the tabernacle, a reminder that they belong to me. The bronze wash basin. Stay clean, stay alive. Make a large bronze wash basin with a bronze stand. Put it between the altar and the tent. Aaron and his sons must wash their hands and feet before stepping into my presence or approaching the altar. If they don't, they'll die. This is a permanent rule for all priests. The holy anointing oil. Sacred mix only. Mix the finest spices, liquid myrrh, cinnamon, cane, cassia, and olive oil to make a sacred anointing oil. Use it to anoint the tabernacle, the ark, the table, the lampstand, the incense altar, the burnt offering altar, and the wash basin. Basically, everything used for worship. This oil sets them apart as holy. Anoint Aaron and his sons with it, making them holy to serve me. But don't pour this on just anybody, and don't try to copy the formula. If anyone makes or uses this for themselves, they'll be cut off from my people. The holy incense. Don't play with it. Mix equal parts of sweet spices, stacte, onycha, galbanum, and pure frankincense to make a special incense. Grind it into a fine powder and put it in front of the ark in the tent of meeting. This is a holy fragrance just for me. Don't make this for personal use. If anybody does, they'll be cut off from my people. Exodus 31. God picks the right people for the job. God told Moses, "Look, I've chosen Bezalel, son of Uri, grandson of Hur from the tribe of Judah. I filled him with my spirit, gave him wisdom, skill, and creativity to craft anything. Gold, silver, bronze, stone, wood, and all kinds of designs. I also picked Oholiab, son of Ahisamach from the tribe of Dan, to work with him. And I've given special skills to others too. so they can build everything I commanded: the tabernacle, the Ark of the Covenant, the mercy seat, all the furniture, the lampstand, the incense altar, the burnt offering altar, the wash basin, the priest's garments, the anointing oil, and the sacred incense. They got to make everything exactly how I said. The Sabbath law? Don't play with it. God said, "Tell the people to keep the Sabbath. This is a sign between me and y'all forever." It proves that I'm the one making you holy. So don't work on the Sabbath. Anyone who does must be cut off from the people. Work 6 days, but the seventh is for rest. It's holy. If anybody breaks this, they gotta be put to death. This is a lasting covenant, a sign between me and Israel forever. I created everything in 6 days. Then on the seventh, I rested. God hands Moses the tablets. When God finished speaking with Moses on Mount Sinai, he gave him 2 stone tablets written by his own hand. Exodus 32. Israel gets impatient and wilds out. While Moses was still up on the mountain with God, the people got tired of waiting. They went to Aaron and said, "Look, we don't know what happened to Moses. He been gone too long. Make us a god we can see and follow." Aaron said, "All right, take the gold earrings from your wives, sons, and daughters, and bring them to me." They did, and Aaron melted the gold down and shaped it into a golden calf. The people saw it and said, "This right here is the God that brought us out of Egypt." Aaron built an altar in front of it and announced, "Tomorrow we throw in a festival for the Lord." The next day they offered sacrifices, ate and drank, and then got real wild, partying, dancing, doing whatever they wanted. God's anger and Moses steps in. Up on the mountain, God told Moses, "Go down there. Your people, the ones you brought out of Egypt, are acting crazy. They already turned their backs on me and made a golden calf. They bowing to it, offering sacrifices and saying it's their God. I've seen enough. These people stay hard-headed. I'm about to wipe them out and start fresh with you." But Moses pleaded, "Lord, don't destroy them. You brought them out of Egypt with power and miracles. Don't let the Egyptians say you just saved them to kill them in the wilderness. Remember the promise you made to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob to bless their descendants forever." So God changed his mind and didn't destroy them. Moses breaks the tablets and handles business. Moses came down the mountain with the 2 stone tablets in his hands, written by God himself. When he got close and saw the people wilding, dancing around the golden calf, his anger exploded. He threw the tablets down, smashing them at the foot of the mountain. He grabbed the golden calf, burned it up, ground it into powder, threw it in the water, and made the people drink it. Then Moses turned to Aaron. "Bro, what did these people do to make you lead them into this mess?" Aaron said, "Man, you know how these people are. They kept pressuring me, saying, 'Make us a god.' So I told them to bring me gold. I threw it in the fire and boom, this calf popped out." Moses saw the people were out of control. Aaron let them get too loose, so he stood at the entrance of the camp and said, "Whoever is still on the Lord's side, come to me." The Levites stepped up. Moses told them, "This is what God says. Grab your swords and go through the camp. Handle business." That day, about 3,000 people were struck down. Moses said, "Y'all needed to make a choice today, to stand for the Lord, even if it meant going against your own people. And because of that, God is going to bless you." Moses intercedes for the people. The next day, Moses told the people, "Y'all really messed up. I'm going to go back up to the Lord and see if I can make this right." Moses went to God and said, "Lord, they sinned big time, making a gold idol. If you got to punish someone, take me instead. Erase my name from your book." But God said, "Nah, I only erase those who actually sinned against me. Now go lead the people where I told you.
My angel will go ahead of you, but know this, a day is coming when I will deal with their sin. Then God sent a plague on the people for what they did with the golden calf.
Exodus 33.
God says he ain't going with them.
God told Moses, "All right, y'all need to leave this mountain and go to the land I promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I'm sending an angel ahead to drive out the Canaanites, Amorites, Hittites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. It's a land flowing with milk and honey. But I ain't going with y'all 'cause you stay hard-headed. If I roll with you, I might have to wipe y'all out on the way." When the people heard this, they were heartbroken and stopped wearing their fancy jewelry. God had told Moses, "Tell them to take that jewelry off while I decide what to do with them." So they did. Moses' tent of meeting, where God pulled up. Moses used to set up a tent outside the camp called the tent of meeting. Anybody who wanted to seek God would go there. When Moses went inside, a cloud would come down and stay at the entrance, and the Lord would speak to him. When the people saw the cloud, they'd stand at their tents and worship. Inside that tent, God spoke to Moses face to face, like a real conversation. Then Moses would go back to camp, but his assistant Joshua, son of Nun, never left the tent. Moses asks for God's presence. Moses said, "Lord, you told me to lead these people, but you haven't told me who's coming with me. You said you know me by name and that I have favor with you. If that's true, show me your ways so I can know you better. And don't forget, these are your people." God replied, "My presence will go with you, and I'll give you rest." Moses said, "If you ain't going with us, don't send us. How else will people know we are your chosen ones? Your presence is what makes us different from everyone else on earth." God said, "All right, I'll do what you ask, because you have my favor, and I know you by name." Moses asks to see God's glory. Then Moses said, "Let me see your glory." God replied, "I'll let my goodness pass in front of you, and I'll call out my name, the Lord. But you can't see my face. No human can see me and live. But here's what I'll do. Stand on this rock. When my glory passes by, I'll put you in a crack in the rock and cover you with my hand until I pass. Then I'll move my hand, and you can see my back. But my face? That's off limits." Exodus 34. New stone tablets. God told Moses, "Cut 2 new stone tablets like the ones you broke. I'll write the same words on them. Be ready in the morning and come up Mount Sinai alone. Nobody else can come, not even animals near the mountain." So Moses cut the tablets and went up the mountain early in the morning, just like God said. God shows his glory. The Lord came down in a cloud, stood with Moses, and called out his name. The Lord, compassionate and gracious, slow to anger, full of love and truth. I show love to 1,000 generations, forgive sin and rebellion, but I don't let the guilty go unpunished. The consequences of sin carry down to the children and grandchildren. Moses immediately bowed down and said, "Lord, if I found favor with you, please go with us. We hard-headed, but forgive our sins and make us your own." God renews the covenant. God said, "I'm making a new covenant with you. I'm about to do wonders so great that all nations will see my power. But listen up. Follow my commands. Destroy their idols. When you enter the land, break down their altars and smash their false gods. Don't mess around with their fake worship. No other gods. I'm a jealous God. I don't share my worship with idols. Don't mix with them. If you make peace with them, you'll end up following their gods. And next thing you know, your kids will too. No molten idols. Don't make any fake gods. Keep the feast of unleavened bread. Remember how I brought you out of Egypt.
Your firstborn belongs to me. Every firstborn male, human or animal, is mine. But you can redeem your firstborn sons and unclean animals with a sacrifice. Rest on the seventh day. Even during planting and harvest, take that day off. Celebrate the 3 yearly feasts. All men must come before me 3 times a year. Don't offer blood with leavened bread. Keep my sacrifices holy. Bring your best to me. The first of your harvest belongs to me. Don't cook a young goat in its mother's milk. That's not how I want sacrifices done. Then God told Moses, "Write all this down. These words are the covenant I'm making with Israel." Moses comes down glowing. Moses was up there with God for 40 days and 40 nights. No food, no water, just receiving the words of the covenant. When he came down, he didn't realize his face was glowing because he had been with God. Aaron and the people saw Moses shining and got scared, but he called them over. Moses told them everything God said, and when he finished, he put a veil over his face. Whenever Moses went back to speak with God, he'd take the veil off. But when he came out to talk to the people, he'd keep the veil on until he went back to God again. Exodus 35. Sabbath reminder. Moses gathered the people and said, "Listen up. God commands that you work for 6 days, but on the 7th, rest. That day is holy. Anybody who works on the Sabbath will be put to death. And don't even light a fire in your homes on that day." Bringing offerings for the tabernacle. Moses told them, "Whoever has a willing heart, bring an offering to the Lord. Gold, silver, bronze, fine linen, blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, goat hair, ram skins, acacia wood, olive oil, spices, and precious stones. We need all this to build the tabernacle, the altar, the priestly clothes. Everything God commanded." The people step up. Everybody who wanted to give brought their offerings. The men and women came through with gold jewelry, rings, earrings, necklaces, plus fabrics, wood, spices, and precious stones. The skilled workers brought their talents, weaving linen, spinning yarn, and making fine embroidery. The leaders brought gemstones for the priest's breastplate and incense for worship. Every single day, people kept bringing more and more until Moses finally had to say, "All right, that's enough. We got more than enough to get this done." Bezalel and Oholiab lead the work. Moses announced, "God has chosen Bezalel from the tribe of Judah and filled him with his spirit, giving him wisdom and skill in all kinds of crafts, working gold, silver, bronze, wood, and designing artistic details. He also picked Oholiab from the tribe of Dan to help him. Both of them, plus others God gifted with skill, will handle all the work for the tabernacle, just as God commanded." Exodus 36. The workers get to work. Bezalel, Oholiab, and all the skilled workers, everyone God gave talent and wisdom, started building the tabernacle just like he commanded. The people kept bringing offerings every morning, so much that the workers had to stop what they were doing and tell Moses, "Yo, the people brought way too much. We already got more than enough to finish the Lord's work." Moses sent out an announcement, "Stop bringing more stuff. We got plenty." So, the people finally stopped giving, and there was more than enough material to finish everything. Building the tabernacle. They made 10 large curtains out of fine linen, woven with blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, decorated with angel designs. They sewed 5 curtains together in one set and 5 in another, linking them with blue loops and gold clasps. They made 11 curtains of goat hair for the outer tent covering, connected with bronze clasps. Over that, they added ram skins dyed red and a top layer of fine leather. The framework. The frames were made from acacia wood, covered in gold, and stood on silver bases. Crossbars, also covered in gold, held everything together. The veil and entrance curtain.
The inner veil was made of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn with angel designs, hung on gold-covered pillars with silver bases. This veil separated the holy place from the most holy place. The entrance curtain was woven the same way and hung on bronze-covered pillars.
Everything was done exactly how God told Moses. Exodus 37.
The Ark of the Covenant. Bezalel built the ark out of acacia wood, about 3 3/4 feet long and 2 1/4 feet wide and high. He covered it inside and out with pure gold and put a gold trim around it. He cast 4 gold rings and attached them to the corners, then made poles out of acacia wood, covered them in gold, and slid them through the rings so it could be carried.
For the top, he made the mercy seat out of pure gold, the same size as the ark. He crafted 2 golden cherubim, angels, and placed them on both ends, facing each other with wings stretched out over the mercy seat. That's where God's presence would show up. The table for the bread.
He made a table out of acacia wood about 3 feet long and 1 1/2 feet wide, and covered it in gold with a gold trim. He made gold rings for the corners and gold-covered poles for carrying it. Then he crafted plates, dishes, and bowls, all pure gold, for holding the bread of the presence that stayed before God. The golden lampstand. The lampstand was made of pure gold, hammered from one solid piece. It had a center shaft with 6 branches, 3 on each side. Each branch had almond blossom designs with flower-shaped cups. He made 7 lamps for it, along with wick trimmers and trays, all from about 75 pounds of pure gold.
The incense altar. He made the incense altar out of acacia wood about 1 1/2 feet wide and 3 feet tall, with horns on each corner. He covered it all in pure gold and put a gold trim around it. He made gold rings for the sides and gold-covered poles for carrying it. Then he made the sacred anointing oil and the pure incense, just how God instructed.
Exodus 38. The altar for burnt offerings.
Bezalel made the burnt offering altar out of acacia wood, about 7 1/2 feet wide and 4 1/2 feet tall. It had horns on each corner, all covered in bronze. He made bronze tools for the altar, pots, shovels, basins, forks, and fire pans.
He built a bronze grating under the altar and attached 4 bronze rings at the corners for carrying poles. The poles were made of acacia wood covered in bronze. The bronze wash basin. He made a large wash basin out of bronze and set it on a bronze stand. It was made from the bronze mirrors of the women who served at the entrance of the tent of meeting. The courtyard.
The courtyard was 150 feet long and 75 feet wide, with fine linen curtains. The north and south sides had 20 bronze posts with silver hooks holding up the curtains.
The west side was 75 feet wide with 10 posts.
The east side, the entrance, was also 75 feet wide, with a 30-foot wide entrance curtain made of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn. It was held up by 4 bronze posts with silver hooks. Inventory of materials. Moses had Ithamar, Aaron's son, keep track of all the materials used for the tabernacle. The work was led by Bezalel from the tribe of Judah and Oholiab from the tribe of Dan. The people gave 2,193 pounds of gold for the sanctuary. They donated 7,545 pounds of silver used to make the bases for the posts and frames. They gave 5,310 pounds of bronze used for the altar, wash basin, and courtyard posts. Everything was done exactly how God commanded Moses. Exodus 39. Making the priestly clothes. The workers made the priestly garments exactly how God commanded Moses. The ephod, priestly robe, made of gold, blue, purple, and scarlet yarn woven into fine linen. They hammered gold sheets into thin wires and wove them into the fabric. The shoulder pieces had 2 onyx stones engraved with the names of the 12 tribes of Israel, set in gold frames. The breastplate, made from the same fabric as the ephod.
It was folded into a square about 9 inches on each side and held 12 gemstones, each engraved with the name of a tribe. First row, ruby, topaz, emerald. Second row, turquoise, sapphire, amethyst. Third row, jacinth, agate, crystal. Fourth row, beryl, onyx, jasper. Each stone was set in gold, and the breastplate was secured to the ephod with gold chains and blue cords. The robe, made entirely of blue fabric with an opening at the top reinforced so it wouldn't tear. Around the hem they attached pomegranates made of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, alternating with gold bells, so Aaron would make a sound whenever he moved inside the holy place. Other garments. They made woven tunics, a turban, a headband, and undergarments out of fine linen. The sash was embroidered with blue, purple, and scarlet yarn. The gold plate, holy to the Lord. They made a gold plate engraved with holy to the Lord and tied it to the turban with a blue cord. Everything was made exactly how God commanded Moses. Moses inspects the work. After finishing the tabernacle, the workers brought everything to Moses: the tent, the ark, the furniture, the altar, the utensils, and the priestly garments. Moses checked every detail and saw that they did everything exactly how God commanded. So he blessed them for their work. Exodus 40. God tells Moses to set everything up. God told Moses, "On the first day of the first month, set up the tabernacle, the tent of meeting. Put the Ark of the Covenant inside and hang the inner curtain to separate the holy place from the most holy place. Set up the table, arrange the bread, place the lampstand and light the lamps. Put the gold incense altar in front of the ark and hang the entrance curtain. Set the burnt offering altar in front of the tent entrance and put the bronze wash basin between the tent and the altar. Fill it with water. Set up the courtyard around everything and hang the curtain at the entrance. Then anoint everything with the sacred oil. The tabernacle, the ark, the altars, the wash basin, everything. This will make them holy. Next, bring Aaron and his sons, wash them with water, and dress Aaron in his priestly garments. Anoint him, setting him apart as my priest. Do the same for his sons." Moses sets it all up. Moses did everything exactly how God told him. On the first day of the first month, he put up the tabernacle. He placed the ark inside and hung the veil. He set up the table, arranged the bread, and put up the lampstand, lighting the lamps. He placed the gold incense altar in front of the veil and burned fragrant incense. He set the burnt offering altar at the entrance and offered sacrifices. He placed the wash basin between the altar and the tent, and Aaron and his sons washed their hands and feet before stepping into God's presence, just like he commanded. Finally, he set up the courtyard and hung the entrance curtain. God's presence fills the tabernacle. As soon as Moses finished, a cloud covered the tent, and God's glory filled the tabernacle. Moses couldn't even step inside because of how powerful his presence was. From then on, whenever the cloud lifted, the Israelites packed up and moved. If the cloud stayed, they stayed put. At night, a fire was inside the cloud so everyone could see it. This was how God led them throughout all their journeys.